Well, hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to the Reforming Nerdom podcast. I am your host for this episode, Jordan Cecile, and I am joined today by the one and only, again, second time, the Mr. Nathan Hartwig. Nate, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing well, I'm excited to talk about some Switch 2, and that's what we're doing today, listeners. Nate and I, if you followed our YouTube, and actually I think we posted it to the podcast feed as well a couple weeks ago. We did our unboxing and initial impressions of the Switch 2, and today we're going to go a little bit more of a deep dive into it, talking about all things hardware, software, and also we're going to do a bit of a review for Mario Kart World as well, because that is the game that both you and I have been playing the most. So we're going to do provide our Reforming Nerdom review of the console, at least our review so far. I mean, it's launch, it's early, software's early, game lineup is limited. There's so many things there, but we're going to give it a review for where it stands currently. Look at it in comparison to some other console launches, because I mean, you and I have participated in some other console launches over the last few years, so we're going to see how it stacks up against that, and then also just give our overall impressions. What do we think? How are we feeling about it? And then we'll wrap up talking about Mario Kart World, which, spoilers, I am in love with. So I guess a little bit of a teaser for what we're probably going to be rating that when it gets to it. So, Nate, you've now had the Switch 2 for, I guess, a little over a week, right? A little week and a half? Is that what it is for us at this point?
I said I wasn't going to get it on day one, so I got it on day two.
There
So
you go.
I've had it since the day after it came out. I guess that would have been
Okay.
Friday June 6th. So we're on June 17th recording today. And yeah, I think I've spent about maybe a dozen hours with it so far, maybe roughly an hour a day, give or take. And so far, my impressions of it are largely very positive, like very, very positive. Now we're coming at a little bit of a different experiences, because you, Jordan, had a Switch Lite leading into this, and I had a regular OG Switch, which was before they did the battery upgrade, and then before the OLED and all of that. So we're coming at this from two different angles, but for me, at least, I assume you just want my initial basic impressions here first before we get into some of the different questions. Very positive.
Yeah.
Feels like a substantial upgrade. That's the first thing that really hits me. Like, I'm playing Mario Kart World, and like, this looks fantastic. Like, the colors pop. It's got the HDR going. On the handheld, we're running at 120 FPS. I don't know if Mario Kart World is running 120 FPS. I think it is. And on the TV, it's running at 4K 60, and like the Switch was pushing nowhere near that. So like, you'd be lucky to get 1080 30, on the Switch 1. So still, from my perspective, coming from an original Switch, like, it does feel a little bit more iterative. And what I mean by that is it still feels like a Switch. And that's that. The Switch was an amazing system. So that is not a complaint by any means. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that Nintendo really needed to upgrade on this. Like, the Switch 1 was running a mobile chip from 2017 that was underclocked. Like, there's the screen was pretty small. It wasn't a great screen. And all those little, like, kind of quality of life type of upgrades are things that I've seen here in my first hours with the Switch 2, and they were all needed, and they hit the mark and then some, I think, in some cases, because we've kind of expected over the last few years minor hardware improvements from Nintendo year over year, or like with each release. And the GameCube to the Wii was pretty much a nothing upgrade in terms of power, and the Wii U was a bit of a jump, and then Wii U to Switch, not much either. So this, like, I think they said 10x the performance of the original Switch, which is huge, and you do feel that. So far, I'm feeling great about it. How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, so far I I'm having a lot of fun. I think I'm in an interesting position where I kind of skipped out on the bulk of an entire console life cycle when it came to Nintendo. I had the Switch Lite, which is a cool console. I mean, I used it for some more like indie games, Katana Zero, Celeste. I did play Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion, but I never really experienced the true delight of the Switch. And so now, I mean, that real, true, portable, dockable, hybrid console, and so now I get it. I understand now. Now that I have it and I see it, I understand that it's actually incredible. Like that experience of being able to just take it downstairs, pop it on the dock, grab the remotes, play with the kids, and then after they go to bed, I can pop upstairs. Hockey's on right now, so we're watching playoff hockey, and then I can just sit there and watch it with Melissa and have the Switch right there with me, and it's fantastic. It works great. I've seen a lot of I mean, I've watched quite a few reviews just in preparation for this, even just for providing my thoughts, and I'm surprised that the sentiment, I would say it's almost generally like meh in terms of what people are feeling about the console, and I think it's because those people who have had it for so long and they really wanted, I mean, it was what, 8.5 years ago that the
Yeah,
original Switch came out, and it seems like their expectations were, I think, unwarranted and unfair. I think they wanted this kind of our ROG Ally X kind of experience where you're playing a legitimate, probably more powerful than a Series S, console in your hands, and it's just like, that's just not what this was ever going to be, and to expect them to have ever done that, I think is just unreasonable, and so for what it is, I think it's fantastic. I think it runs great, it feels good. I mean, the ergonomics, like, we can talk a little bit about the hardware, and, I mean, for some people, I can sympathize, or I can see why they would say it's not the most comfortable thing if you're playing for long periods of time, and I would agree with that, but I'm not typically playing for longer than a half hour, 45 minutes at a time, so it isn't a bother to me, but I could see how, yeah, at around, like, 45 minutes if I'm playing, I could see, like, my hand starts cramping up a little bit. But generally, I think it's been great. I've been having a blast with it. I haven't even thought about turning on a PlayStation or anything else in the week and a half that I've had it. I have just been playing Mario Kart World any chance I get, like, within reason. The kids have been playing it. It's just been a blast. So I'd say overall, I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I did it. I actually think you can make the argument that the Nintendo Switch is the best video game console for families, like, full stop.
I
Like,
agree. Yeah,
it is it is the best option. The games, a company that is actually committed to, wholesomeness and creating things that are safe for kids, that you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to worry about, so anyway, the whole thing, but so anyways, this is kind of going in like a I love Nintendo rant because, it's actually, like, kind of brought back my appreciation for, like, Nintendo as a whole, but let's go back to the Switch, because I think that's what we wanna talk about, is just the actual, system itself, and so what I thought was really impressive, and we were chatting about this, or I think you brought it up in our Discord today, was how successful this launch actually was for Nintendo.
Mhm.
And just in compared to other console launches, like, this was the biggest system launch they've ever had, one of the best system launches ever, and a big reason for that is they were actually ready for it and had stock and inventory, and if you wanna buy one, you can go buy one. And it's not because they're not popular, it's just because Nintendo wasn't running a scarcity game, trying to, artificially inflate sales or, like, demand to, get the whole scalping market going like crazy. They just had consoles, people wanted one, they could go buy one, which is great. And so they sold, I think it was like 3.5 million consoles, biggest console launch
Yeah.
they've ever had. So it was really, I mean, it was surprising that you and I, day 2, were able to go and get one, which was unexpected
Yeah.
given with I remember you and I when we were buying the, PS5,
Oh man.
which would have been, oh, wow, like 5 years ago at this point,
Yeah, that was during the chip
and
shortage. So that was
yeah,
another.
that was nutty, and, the fact that we were able to get one, I think I got one earlier than you, right? I think I
I
got one launch day. Did
I
you
got
get
one
one
launch
soon after
day.
launch?
I
Oh, did you?
remember
Okay.
I remember thinking I'm at work, so I'm just gonna like jump on for a quick second and grab it, and get off. And I don't want to say how much time I spent trying to refresh the page, trying to secure one and put one in my cart, and then having the website crash and trying again. Eventually, I got one, and it was all good. I think it showed up a day later or two, something like that. But yeah, that chip shortage was rough, and I think Nintendo probably took a look at the PS5 launch because that's like kind of the most recent like new generation console launch up until this point. And they probably took a look at that and went, yeah, how do we avoid that happening again? Because that was a disaster to see. I don't know if you recall the prices of PS5s back then too, not to derail this too much. They were like $2,000 that they were hitting at one point. And so Nintendo, of course, when I saw their strategy for getting on a list, you have to have Nintendo Switch Online for so many months to show you're like a true Nintendo fan for them to even
Mm.
consider you their want like someone okay, they're doing something right here. So I, put my name on the list and then didn't even need to get my name called because just go in the store and buy one for like a full week and there was no issues at all and it was awesome. It's like, why can't everyone do this? And now there's probably scalpers out there who are sitting on piles of these. Actually, I have seen some posts online about this where there's people that have
Yep.
a dozen of these things and they're just like marking them like $5, $10 cheaper, trying to get their money back. Um, you know, and they played themselves. So it feels pretty good.
Yep. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, it's great. So, what are your thoughts, Nate? You had the original Switch. I mean, I had the Switch Lite. It was a lot smaller. I mean, so here I got my
Oh,
my Switch 2 in my hands right now. It's significantly or the screen is significantly bigger. The actual footprint itself of the console is not drastically bigger. I think is it the same width as the original one?
the same thickness? Yeah, it's close. It feels very
Or
similar in terms of thickness, and honestly, this isn't really a negative, but I wouldn't have minded it being a little bit thicker for ergonomics sake, especially around the Joy-Cons here. If
yeah,
they could just round those just a little
yeah,
bit, just like the Steam Deck, which I also have sitting here. If they could just do that, you can see side by side,
yeah,
just that ergonomic. Like I can play my Steam Deck for 2 hours straight. Not that I really do that much, but if I wanted to, I could play it for like 2 hours straight, and it wouldn't hurt at all. But with the Switch 2, I was playing Wind Waker the other night because I have that's the other thing with Nintendo, right? Big nostalgia stuff. Like you just want to go back and play all the old games over and over again. But I was playing Wind Waker the other night on Switch 2, and probably around an hour, my hands are like, "Oof, this feels, like, pretty rough," to be honest, like, I was playing handheld. Uh, Thankfully, they have a Pro controller, and the old Pro controllers work with the Switch 2, so you don't have to go buy one of those new ones, although I've heard great things about them. Pair up my Pro controller from Switch 1, it works perfectly, and it's, like, the most comfortable thing I've ever held. I think you got one, Jordan, right?
yeah. I got 2. Yeah, I found one online from Amazon. It was like a returned one for yeah, it was half price, and then somebody for some reason was selling one for $30 on Facebook Marketplace, and I picked that up, and so I have 2 of the Pro controllers now, and they're amazing. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, very ergonomic,
Yeah,
yeah. It still feels great to play though, handheld, for the amount of time
yeah.
that I wanna actually sit down and play it for. Now, we should touch on the battery life as well, because that's something that there have been a lot of complaints about. People saw the
Yep.
charts, and some people have gotten their hands on and said, like, "The battery life is awful, like, it drains so fast." I think they're exaggerating a little bit. Now, we played online Mario Kart the other night, and we'll talk about Mario Kart later in the episode, but we played Mario Kart the other night, and I think we played for around an hour-ish, and I had played for
Yep.
30 minutes before that, and then I still had half my battery left, and it was an hour and a half of, like, this AAA, like, 120 FPS HDR on. I'm not gonna sit and play it for 3 hours straight. It's Mario Kart, right? Like, it's not, you know, um, it's not some big, like, RPG or something that I'm gonna engross myself in. There will probably be games that drain the battery life quicker than others, and, I mean, that's the beauty of a hybrid system, right, is you can go and dock it at any point and charge it up for a bit or play it on your TV if you are playing a longer session, and then undock it again, and that's totally fine. I thought the battery life was totally acceptable. They did update the battery at least once, maybe twice last generation, Um, and I kind of expect that they'll probably do the same thing again here. But I have the OG Switch as well, which was before it got any battery upgrades, and it's still great. This is around the same battery life. It's just pushing um, much better hardware inside for like the CPU and everything. So personally, I'm not concerned. How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, yeah, no, I haven't been bothered by it, but again, I'm not that person who's, uh, got a commute for, an hour or 2 a day and is looking on to play on the
Yeah.
subway or something like that, so, I mean, I'm not that, so I have not once in having it felt that battery anxiety, but again, I play it for half an hour at a time if I do, so and I'm playing it like you said, like full well, I guess maybe you didn't say this, but full brightness. I got that thing, going as many nits as possible. That thing is, burning my retinas, and, like, yeah, I did that when we were playing online, which is using more battery, and it felt great. Again, I'm not buying it hoping to have this 10-hour battery life, that some people want out of it. To me, for somebody who's gonna be largely playing docked with the kids, occasionally, I'm 99% of the time playing this at home. I don't really go anywhere, so, I mean, if I go to, my in-laws' cottage, they got power, so, yeah, like, will I play it when we're in bed? Sure, but it's not like I'm far from power if I need to, so, I'm not too worried about it, but I think actually that brings up something that I'm really impressed with, and I didn't even really think about it until we just started talking about the battery, but that is actually the thermals. It doesn't run like, I've again, max brightness, playing online, and I don't feel hot. Like, it's not and I don't hear a fan going crazy, and I'm not usually playing with headphones, and I don't hear a fan, so it's like the thing runs quiet and it runs cool.
Yeah, that's a great point. I totally didn't even notice it and or even think about the fan until now, until you
Yeah,
brought it up.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it doesn't get hot. I did notice that. That's great. Yeah, it's very cool. And yeah, I've never heard a fan go like crazy. Now, like the Steam Deck does sometimes if you play something intense,
sure does.
it's
Oh,
loud.
yeah.
And the Switch One is the same. It gets loud too. But so far so good with the Switch 2.
Yeah,
Now, with
yep,
some consoles, the fan gets louder over time because dust builds up inside the system, right? This was a big issue with the PS4, famously, where that thing sounded like when you try and play God of War on it or something like that. I wonder over time if that happened to the Switch 2. And the reason I bring this up is because I've been seeing some stuff online that they made this thing really hard to repair. So,
yeah.
um, that's something to be aware of. There's probably going to be some iFixit guides on there. I know some of you guys who listen like the iFixit toolkits. I'm a big advocate as well for right to repair, and believe that, you should be able to repair anything. I'm sure that they, are gonna come out with something to give some info on that. Hopefully, nothing anyone needs to be doing anytime soon. But yeah, we'll see how that holds up long time. I wanna circle back real quick before
Yeah, but
yeah, I was gonna talk about the battery life for one more
no, I was just gonna yeah, yeah, go for that. Yeah, go ahead.
there are battery packs out there already that, can charge up the battery a few times over on the Switch too. So Anker made one. This isn't an ad for Anker or anything like that, but they made one that's 24,000 milliamp hour battery that could charge a laptop or it can charge a Switch too. It's 44% off on Amazon Canada right now. So, there may be options there if you've got a longer commute. Take a look into a battery that's a battery pack that can do at least a 45-watt output or higher. And it might be a good option to charge your Switch to. Sorry about that, Jordan.
Yeah. No, yeah, no problem. I was just gonna say, even though it doesn't have a high repairability score, from my understanding, Nintendo has a lot of repair facilities, and getting it to them to fix things is not typically that difficult. And I know particularly with the Joy Cons, they have a pretty long warranty on them because they have historically that Joy-Con drift issue, and that's something that I haven't experienced yet. Some people are saying online that they are seeing it already. It kind of
How?
is a TBD. Right? I don't know. Like, have you been using it that much that you're already causing issues there? I don't
What
know.
are you
But
playing?
from Well, and yeah, like most people from what I've heard, it hasn't been an issue. I haven't experienced any issue. I mean, I would way prefer playing with the Pro controller just because the analog sticks are definitely better. These are not going to be the best analog sticks in the world on these Joy-Cons. And same with the buttons. Like again, they're fine. They're clicky, they're good. I don't have any issues with them. But one of the things that I just think is incredible is the magnetic mechanism for attaching the Joy-Cons. The only thing I can think of that I can liken it to is if you have a MacBook and the MagSafe charger and how it's, like, so satisfying to just dangle the cable there and it just, like, snaps on. It's kind of like that, but better with these, where it's so satisfying to just
Even the
and they
click sound
hold
is so
so
good.
well. Oh, right? And, like, they detach real easy, you got these buttons here on the back. They're really fantastic, and so Joy-Cons as of right now, from my experience, love them, no issues. Handheld play feels good. I mean, the I'm glad I got the Pro controllers because, like, with the Joy-Cons, like, they do have the shoulder buttons up here, and we were playing Mario Kart with the kids just using this, which was hilarious, but you can, right? Like, you can do it with just
The
the
sideways.
Joy-Con and, um the sideways, yeah, I'm thankful that we don't have to do that now. So we have the adapter thing where we can put these 2 on. I borrowed the other one from you, and I have 2 Pro controllers. I'm gonna get another Pro controller at some point, and so we'll have just all controllers and everything will be good. But yeah, so far, I haven't had any issues with the Joy-Con, so I'm happy with that. But one of the things that you kinda mentioned already, and I think we is worth discussing is the screen, because that's something again right now that I keep hearing people complain, but admittedly, and Nick, I think you and I are in the same boat, we have not had a Switch or a, mobile, portable gaming device with an OLED screen, because that seems to be something that people are nitpicking about, and it feels like nitpicking to me because this screen looks, as far as I can tell, fantastic. The colors look great. The refresh rate is great. I think it has variable refresh rate. It looks amazing. It's super bright. Unless you and I are just absolutely missing out on some level of screen technology that is actually that profoundly better, I just think it's people complaining, like wanting to find something to complain about. I don't know how you could look at the screen and be disappointed with it. I think it looks
Well,
fantastic.
I think finding the screen something to this console, really shows how great it is. Because, like, if that's what you have to resort to say, "Well, this screen could be better," it's like, the console is pretty fantastic because that screen is on a mobile gaming device. Like, I understand the OLED screen on the Switch is supposedly better. Steam Deck OLED might be a little bit better, but I'm not left wanting for that. Like, this screen with the HDR, pro tip, like, listeners, if you get a Switch 2 or have one, turn off auto brightness, your screen just, like, lights up like crazy, and, like, the brightness meter doesn't move when you turn off auto brightness, it just stays in the same spot, but it's, like, a world of a difference, and, I'm going from this to an OLED TV when I dock it, and I'm not like, "Oh, man, the OLED TV is so much better." Like, it's they both are great, and, if I'm if I'm playing on mobile, like, I'm not trying to get the best screen technology out there. I'm going to be making concessions naturally because the best part about playing a device, like, in a mobile state is that you can go anywhere with it and, you can go lay back on the couch and have that second screen experience if, your spouse is watching TV or, you're watching TV or whatever, and, uh, this is really good. This is as good of a screen as you would find in pretty much any mobile device. Like, our phones have some version of, AMOLED or a version of OLED. This isn't really that much different than that. So, it's very
Yep. No. Yep. I'm very happy with it. Now, how are you finding, or what are your impressions so far of the graphical capabilities of the device? You played Mario Kart World. Have you gone back and done the Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom
yeah.
upgrade? Have you done any of
I
those?
did Tears of the Kingdom. Didn't try Breath of the Wild, but I tried Tears of the Kingdom and, ran it a little bit on handheld. Didn't dock it, unfortunately, so I don't have, experience on that. But I went back and tried some of those areas, like, famously, like, the Kakariko Village area in, Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 1 was very framey, like, a lot of stuttering and frame drops and things like that. You go back there, smooth as butter, 60 FPS or,
Mm.
yeah, just consistent 60 FPS the whole time. Uh, it and I think I had heard this in some other reviews, and I'd agree with the sentiment. There's kinda like this blurriness to it. Maybe they came with, like, the lower resolution initially, and kinda like someone had taken some Vaseline and just, like, smudged it over the screen, but Nintendo kinda obfuscated it by making it this kind of, like, painterly looking art style. That all seems, like, really cleaned up now and sharp and crisp and great contrast and everything, and the HDR looks excellent, so, yeah, if you have one of those 2 Zelda games, do yourself a favor and go back and check it out. There is a $10, I think, fee to upgrade. I'm not sure what that is.
15.
Oh, is it 15? So, uh,
I think it's 15.
so we, we were using a family group, Nintendo Switch Online, so that, comes in automatically if you have the extra tier. That's what PlayStation calls it. Expansion pack is what Nintendo calls it. If you have the expansion pack, these upgrades are included. So, no extra cost there. So, highly recommend giving that a download. Did you get a chance to try it, Jordan?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I mean, Mario Kart World looked great. I thought, again, it's a 3D cartoony kart racing game. I wasn't expecting God of War, and so for what it was great. It ran great. I went and played a little bit of Breath of the Wild. I started over because I played it. Oh man, I think I started playing it like 3 or 4 years 2 or 3 years ago, and I just never really got into it, and again, it didn't really feel great to me as what again, just like the frames, the screen playing it that game on a Switch Lite was just not amazing. So, I borrowed Breath of the Wild, did the update, with the Switch 2, and man, it is pretty. It is, smooth as butter. It is incredible. It runs great. It looks great. I've only probably played like a half hour of it, but I just mostly wanted to see how it felt and looked. And yeah, just on the screen, it looked incredible. So I am going to over, I think the summer, that's going to be like my game for over the summer
That's a
playing
great
through Breath of the
choice.
Wild. It's so big. It's going to take me so long to get through it because it's like 100 hours, well, maybe like 50 hours to kind of play through it without doing
Yeah.
everything. So I'm figuring it's gonna be a bit, so, but I also did, Mario Odyssey, which was, didn't get, like, enough I don't think it got yeah, you didn't have to pay for it. It was just like a quality of life improvement thing, so there was a few other Switch games that they did that as well, so that was another one that looked and ran really good.
Yeah, that's one of the things probably worth mentioning. Nintendo's kind of rolled this out with the upgrades in kind of a strange fashion, but a welcome one, I suppose. So, like Mario Odyssey that you just alluded to, you just put the game in and it asks for an update, and all of a sudden you have, 4K 60 Mario Odyssey. But uh, for Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, you're paying for an upgrade. And then there's other games that there's no real update released. They just run. And so, you do but you're probably going to get a better experience with any game that you put in that system, which is a win. Like, that's a net positive. Um, but there are some that you have to download an update for, there are some you have to pay for, so you might wanna look into that, before you put a game in to see what is available for it, what kind of, features can you expect, but it was pretty fun, just like, Rachel, my wife, and I were playing around with it, like, "Alright, let's see how Odyssey looks. Let's see how, Mario Party looks," or whatever, just putting in a different game and testing it out and seeing what kind of, new features were in store there. So, there are a few games I saw on Nintendo official list that, are incompatible or are expected to get some sort of fix, but it's pretty small. So most games, if as long as pretty much right away.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you can't be surprised, Nintendo they're Nintendo. They're gonna milk every single last dollar out of people because they can, and so Breath of the Wild, they can add a $15 upgrade charge, they will, and They did, and you know what? I don't hear of too many people if you wanna go back and play the game, I why wouldn't you spend the $15? It's kind of like, the Uncharted Lost Legacy or the Uncharted,
A Legacy of
there was that
Thieves.
Legacy of Thieves one where it was like an upgrade pack and you could pay $10 and you get, the last one and the kind of side story one, and you could pay $10 and all of a sudden it was gonna be upgraded to PS5. It's like, well, if you love the games enough, like I didn't worry about it because I wasn't going to play it, but I probably will now. If I do go back and play those games, I'll pay the $10 because yeah, I want to play those games, better graphics, better frame rate, better everything. So it's not a huge deal if so I can understand some people, but it's like there is time that went into upgrading that game. Now, I don't know how much time it would have to get it running with higher frame rates and all those things, but it would have been
Yeah.
time. It would have been dev time to go and update it. I don't know, right? And so uh, I can I don't think we should expect a developer to just do that out of the kindness of their hearts. Like there's nothing wrong with them wanting to make money off of their labor.
Absolutely.
So I don't personally have any issue with
Yeah.
that. But I guess one of the things now that I think is interesting is that's worth talking about is the price of the console, price of games. There's no denying that this is not a cheap console. But if you go and look at it compared to other consoles that released in other Nintendo consoles throughout gaming history, counting for inflation, this isn't actually that high. If you consider it, like, yes, $300 in 1996 for a 64 or whatever it was sounds super cheap, but
That's
it's
a
like,
lot.
well, that was also 30 years ago, guys. Like, let's be realistic that the dollar has changed a lot.
Like 150K. So, yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah. 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 So it's dollar for dollar counting for inflation. This isn't actually that unreasonable. I think it does sting right now where everything is expensive, but you know what? It's something that it's like if you care enough for this and if it matters to you, well then like you'll make it work. If you can't afford it, well then you can't do it. And you know what? There's certain things that I can't get into speedboat racing because I can't afford a speedboat. So there's certain things where it's like if you can't, like you can't. And like that's just the reality of life. It's not really worth complaining about. It's just, wait for somebody to sell one secondhand. That's going to happen eventually, right? There are going to be sales on it. And so if that is a problem for you, like, yeah, it sucks. Like if somebody's a gamer and wants to play, I get it. You want to be able to, especially when a console launches, like as you and I experience, there's something exciting about being
Conversation.
part of the zeitgeist of the moment and like understanding. It's like you hear people talking about, especially if you're into gaming podcasts like you and I are, and we listen to people and we care about the industry and we know what's going on. Yeah, it's there's something fun about that. But if I couldn't have afforded it, well, guess what? I wouldn't have bought it, and it would have been what it was. I'm thankful that I was able to afford it. I'm glad I was able to, but it is what it is. And so there are certain things that are just going to cost more. And now the one thing that with related to price where I do feel a little bit like Nintendo's being a bit gougy is the increase from what we're used to paying $79.99 for games, now all of a sudden going up to $110 for a game. Like that seems like a pretty significant bump in price that seems like it didn't need to be that
Yeah, and no,
high.
I don't know if this is just Mario Kart that is that price or if all future Nintendo games are going to be because, so Nintendo's next first party release coming next month, which is good that we are finally getting another one soon. Donkey Kong Bonanza. If we look that up, I don't think that is the same price as
You're
Mario,
right. It's not it's 99.99. Yeah, it's 99.
which is still a lot of money. Like that, 99 $100. That's
Oh
still
yeah.
like what, $70 roughly, or 65 somewhere in there. So uh, it is still an increase from last generation, but I think typically we do see roughly $10 increases generation to generation. Um, but that $30 jump from Mario Kart. Now, I don't know, do you think this was to direct people maybe to like getting the bundle? Because you do save like 40 or $50 if you get it in the bundle.
Yeah, I could see that. I also think that what they're doing is they're getting the money in advance for what will be a lot of updates to Mario Kart. I think Mario Kart is going to have a significant amount of DLC, similar to what they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where you saw them recreate every single Mario. I think it was every single Mario Kart track ever, pretty much. Yeah. And so the thing that's interesting with Mario Kart, which again, we can chat about it a bit now, is they have this whole open world mechanic now. And so now you can I haven't spent a ton of time in it, but it's there. And I think they're gonna probably fill that up and do some cool things there. I'm guessing that and so I'm wondering if that's what it is. They added the extra cost because there's gonna be so much more added to it versus like a Donkey Kong Bonanza. Is there really gonna be much
Yeah.
in terms of DLC after the fact? Not
I don't think
really.
so because I liken Donkey
So,
Kong Bonanza to, Mario Kart or not Mario Kart, sorry, Mario Odyssey. It kind of has that similar look and
yeah.
feel, and there's speculation that it might even be the same team that's making it. No one knows for certain because Nintendo, now hides what teams are making their games. It's just all Nintendo, uh,
Hmm.
which is what it is. But, for Mario Kart World, yeah, this could be a platform. I could see it being a platform to layer additional updates onto, like, we've seen that with Mario Kart 8, or a similar game from a different console. We've seen it with Forza Horizon series where you got your meat map and then you go, oh, go over here to see Hot Wheels, go over here to see Lego, or all these different expansions that they build into it. Updates. If there was free updates, like no additional cost, yeah, that makes sense. But it's Nintendo, and I really doubt that that will happen. I'm that it'll be, first off, I think there'll be updates. For sure, I think there's gonna be updates. There's no way you call something world and don't give it a bunch of updates for the next 10 years. However, um, I I'm guessing that some of these updates are going to be, like, free if you have Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, because that's what they did with Mario Kart 8. The extra tracks were included if you had the expansion pass, or you can go and pay a bunch of extra money for it. So, Nintendo's not an easy, company to predict, but I think they're playing it a little bit safer this go around because they wanna replicate the Nintendo Switch's success, and I think they're doing that by having a similar strategy with the Switch 2, um, because and sorry if I'm getting a little off track here, but what they've done in the past is they tried to do, like, crazy, like, kinda swings with every generation. Each thing is, like, wildly different from the last, and it's had this kind of effect of, like, major hit, kind of a flop, major hit, kind of a flop, and I don't think they want that. I think they wanna continue that success, and they just wanna iterate on the success of the Switch, and so I think we're going to see a lot of similar decisions with the Switch 2 that we saw with the Switch 1 and just how they conduct their business practices. But yeah, the $110 is it's a tough pill to swallow because if I didn't get this bundled with the Switch and save that money up front, um, I don't personally, I don't think that it's a $110 game. Like, I don't think it's worth $110. That's just my take. I don't think there's enough content in this game to justify that price. Um, you could go if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series, you could go get Forza Horizon, which has way more content, way more to do, a robust online, battle royale modes, everything. And I know it's not Mario Kart, it's not Nintendo, but a really high quality game nonetheless, and it's not $110 to go get that. So, and it's not always about the hours per dollar of content. Like, the nice thing about Mario Kart is, like, it's not a game where you play it and you put it away and never look at it again. You're probably gonna jump into this game over and over and over again with friends and family for the next decade, right? I mean, that's what we did with Mario Kart 8,
Yeah.
and I fully expect that to be the case here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the general challenge I've had with Nintendo is just the cost of games for the amount of gameplay you get out of it, right? The one that it was a couple years ago, we were heading up to a cottage and I ended up eh, we were I justified it because it was we were supposed to go golfing, didn't end up going golfing, so I was like, "Oh, well, I'll just take that money and I'll buy a Switch game." So I ended up buying Luigi's Mansion 3. It ended up being on sale. I got it for like $50. I was like, "Okay, $50, whatever." But even like the problem with that is that game probably didn't take me 20 hours to beat. And then it's like, okay. Versus like you said, I mean, it's hard right now, just any game really, when you have Call of Duty, Warzone, when you have Apex
Mm,
Legends, where you have
Fortnite.
Fortnite, all these free to play games that you can fully play without spending a
Yeah.
dime, and they're
Or
fantastic.
pay
They're
for one
great,
battle
right?
royale season pass and then earn your money back to buy the next one. So you pay like
Yeah.
$20 and you're good for life, basically.
So I think this is just a challenge that Nintendo, but not just Nintendo, all of the big publishers are facing right now is they're coming up against all these free to play games that are great, that are lots of fun, and they can't really compete with because it's hard to stomach spending money. But then, I mean, you and I, we've experienced over the last 5 years where we've done game sharing between our accounts. You know what? On PlayStation, a game goes on sale for $30, and it's like, okay, whatever. And so in my mind, I think of that as, oh, it's like $15 because you and I are
Yeah.
splitting it because I buy a game, you buy a game, and we've kind of gone back and forth over the last few years. So it's we're really paying half price because usually if you like a game, I'm gonna like it. We have very similar gaming preferences, so it's odd that if you and I don't enjoy a similar type of game. But with Nintendo, it's just like, oh man, because I know you like buying the physical cards, and again, we can still lend them out and share them that way, which is good. But it's just that is a challenge with the Switch generally is pricing. Breath of the Wild is gonna be $99. Mario Kart is going to be $110 for the next 10
And will never
years.
drop hardly.
Yes, there's gonna be the odd time.
Like
I mean, it'll
30%
maybe
maybe.
once every couple years. Yeah, maybe, and then but right back up, and it's just because it's a sale. Like, there will be no permanent price drop for those games, and the way things are going, they might actually see a
Yeah,
price
with tariffs and
increase
whatnot.
right now. Just same with the console, and I know that was a big reason why or you had said, and, like, I think the logic made sense was if you're gonna get one and you can afford to get one, well, try to get it now because 6 months from now, this console might go up 20% in cost, and that's just, like, that's a
Yeah.
very real
Uh,
possibility, so,
One thing we know for
um,
sure is like
yeah,
it won't go down in cost because the Switch 2 is still this, or sorry, the Switch 1 is
no.
still the same price as it was when it launched in 2017, which is pretty crazy to think about, right?
Yeah,
And so the Switch 2,
yeah,
yeah, it won't go down in cost. It might even go up in cost. And so why not own it for the entirety of its life and then on like, if you wanna hold on to it when the Switch 3 comes out or whatever it is, like, that's great as well. We're holding on to our Switch, we have kids, so that they love to play the Switch, and you're talking about, like, the quality of Nintendo games, like, those games don't ever drop in price because they're an amazing quality thing that is, perfect for the whole family. You know that when Nintendo releases a game that you don't have to like go look up, is there something bad in it? Is there something I need to be aware of my kids? Like they're generally safe. And now if a game comes out, we'll try and warn you listeners otherwise if there is something that there's an issue in. But yeah, we know that games that come out like that from Nintendo, they're going to be great quality and they're going to be something that you'll want to dip back into every so often for the next decade plus. And we still go back and play Mario Kart 64 and stuff like that. You know, we still go back and play. We reminisce about GoldenEye. I don't know if it holds up as well as people think it does, but those games like even the Super Nintendo games. My oldest, his first game was Super Mario Bros. The Super NES one. Super Mario World. I don't know why I was blanking on that. Super Mario World, and he loved it. And and actually he played a huge chunk of that game at 4, because that game just transcends generations. And I fully expect that Nintendo will continue to do that with all their games. And like, yeah, Mario Kart World in its launch state, which we should probably get into some of the modes and what's new in this one, um, probably lacking in content, to justify that $110 Canadian or $80 US price tag. But over time, it probably can earn it. It's going to take some time to get there, I think, to add the content in.
Hey, Reforming Nerdom listeners. If you're the kind of nerd who fuels deep theological debates or marathon game nights with a great cup of coffee, you need to check out Cosmos Coffee Company. Cosmos Coffee Company is a Christian coffee roaster in White House, Tennessee, that provides freshly roasted coffee to customers all across the US and Canada. Whether you're diving into your next deep theology study or prepping for an all-night board game marathon, Cosmos Coffee has you covered. They have 7 great flavors, including the Pilgrim's Roast, a smooth, light roast with notes of blackberry, honeysuckle, and butterscotch, the Renewal Roast, a sweet Ethiopian blend with strawberry, agave, and peach, and for something extra nerdy, the Falcondra Roast, a medium Colombian inspired by Out of the Silent Planet with rich flavors of chocolate, brown sugar, and citrus. And because you're part of our nerdy fellowship, they are offering 30% off your first order for Reforming Nerdom listeners. Just use the code REFORMNERDOM at checkout. So, if you want to level up your coffee game, go to cosmoscoffeecompany.com, that's Cosmos with a K, and use Reform Nerdom, no spaces, to save 30% on your first order. Cosmos Coffee Company. Coffee roasted well for his glory, for the kingdom.
Yeah, well, before we get to some of our more in-depth thoughts on Mario Kart World, Nate, we've talked about the feel, we've talked about, so one thing also, just as I'm holding the hardware here, kickstand, fantastic, works amazing. This thing is wonderfully designed. So if you had to give a score for this console as it stands right now, factoring in hardware, software, battery, experience, all that stuff, I have in my mind what I would give it. What would you think that this console warrants for a
So
score out of 10?
can we do
Out of
can
10.
we do 20 point?
10. Oh,
Like half points? Okay,
you can
cool.
go halves. Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yep.
an 8.5 on the here.
Okay.
And it's great. It is fantastic. And I want to give that 0.5 as an extra to how many improvements they made. The fact that they cared about the refresh rate of the screen. Like Nintendo cared about refresh rate. I can't think of the last time Nintendo's cared about anything like hardware, technical power wise, HDR, all these extra hardware improvements. The screen is huge. It's a beautiful console to hold. It has a more premium finish to it. Basically every single area it's improved in. Maybe a little decrease in the battery life. It doesn't have the OLED, but again, I don't think these are huge things. So to me, it's an 8.5. Now, I will caveat this a little bit by saying it's really hard to score a console when it just releases because I am giving the score purely based on the hardware that I'm holding. I'm not giving it based on the software. Um, the software, if I was scoring it with the software, I would score it probably quite a bit lower because honestly, there's not really a whole lot in the Switch 2 launch lineup. Like Mario Kart is kind of it, unless you really care about that interactive manual that they're selling for $10, the Switch Welcome Tour. The yeah, Mario. You got your Nintendo Switch Online Classics. Like you got 3 GameCube games. Fire, Fire. That's the one I want to play. That's F-Zero, Wind Waker, and you've got Soul Calibur 2, which is a great 3-game lineup to start with. I hope they expand on that before the end of the year. But otherwise, like those are kind of your new to play Nintendo games for the Switch 2 is Mario Kart and those GameCube games. So keep that in mind. But the hardware as a whole, I'll give it an 8.5.
Okay. I think I will be even more generous. I would go up to a 9. I would say this thing is excellent. Yeah. So we're trying to implement a clearer review system or review scale, and it's actually kind of similar to based off of the Kind of Funny one, because I think their rating system is actually excellent. It works very clear. It does not involve build rats or us having to do math on the fly in order to figure out what it is. So uh, you had said an 8.5, which was 8 is great, so a little bit better than great, not quite excellent. I would go and actually say excellent, and largely because I'm coming from the Switch Lite, which was for what it was, is a great little thing. And I mean, I gave Ben my Switch Lite, and he said his kids have been having an absolute blast going through and playing a lot of the old NES, SNES, 64 games, and he just said it's been amazing, which is awesome. And I think that device is perfect for that. So I'm just coming to this from that and seeing the screen, feeling like just like yeah, the speed, how it feels, and a big part of it. And so part of that 9 for me is not just like is not just the physical hardware itself, but it's actually because I'm really coming to the true experience of the Switch and experiencing that with my kids and seeing how much fun it is playing this thing, going and playing old N64 games. We played Mario Tennis the other night and it was a blast. Old N64 Mario Tennis, one of my favorite games of all time, playing Mario Party with the kids, playing Mario Kart. It has just been a joy. So I think it's fantastic. I mean, I don't want to say perfect because, yeah, the launch lineup isn't the best. Mario Kart World is a lot of fun, and we'll maybe chat. We'll kind of pivot into talking about that next. But overall, I think it feels premium hardware, and that's one of the things I'm really happy about. Is with the Steam Deck, I paid $350 for it because it was a refurbished unit. It's this feels more premium than a Steam Deck to me. In my hand, like the Steam Deck feels a little bit I don't want to say cheap because it's still a
It's
great device.
plasticky.
It's just like this to me. Yeah, it's and like this, just like the texture, the smooth matte texture on it feels really good. The screen is obviously better, but again, this is twice as much as I paid for a Steam Deck, so I expect this screen to be better than a Steam Deck. But overall, I think it's great. It feels great. It's doing everything I want it to do. It operates exactly how I expect it to operate. It's not a masterpiece. I would not say this thing is yeah, if this had a beefier battery, if it had OLED, um,
Bump it up to 10.
then it would like yeah, like, it's just like there are things there. I mean, yeah, the launch lineup's not great. It's overall, though, I think it's been great. I'm really excited about it. Really happy to have it. Now we pivot to talking about Mario Kart. So we wanted to do a quick review. We don't have to go as in-depth as we did with the console, and we've already talked about Mario Kart a little bit, but, um I'm actually really impressed with the game. I have found that since I've had the console, again, I already mentioned this earlier, I am completely and utterly content to play nothing other than Mario Kart right now because I haven't gone and maxed everything out yet. I haven't gold starred all of the Grand Prix or the new knockout mode, which we need to talk about. So like I still have stuff to do, but I can absolutely see there's going to be a point once I do all those things, there's not really gonna be anything to do aside from playing it with the kids or hopping online and playing it with you because 'cause you're the only person I can play this with right now because I don't actually know anybody else who has it. So, it's great, it's fun, but it does seem like it's going to have a date in the not too distant future where aside from playing it with the kids or Melissa, which, funny enough, we've actually played in bed a few
That's
times, which has been
fantastic.
a lot of fun. I never thought that would happen, but we've done that a couple times, and, so anyways, overall, like, I think it's a great game. It's fun. It's well built. I mean, it's for those who have played Mario Kart in the past, you'll love it. Uh, that's there's some new mechanics in it that I'd be curious how you played Mario Kart 8. I've played it one time in the entire time it was out, even from Wii U to Switch. I played it once. So I'm curious, like, so this game introduces some of those new grinding, you can wall ride. Uh, how do you feel about the new mechanics in the game versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Deluxe, tight controlling feeling game, and it felt really good to play. The downside of that though is that I always felt is that it's missing an extra layer to elevate it from like just kind of a competitive party game and something where it's like there's a high skill ceiling here where you can actually try to like almost break the game in a sense to achieve this next level. And it was released other games like Smash Brothers, where it's like you could count the frames and know exactly where to hit on the character to be able to achieve a certain result. Um, is getting towards that territory. Mario Kart World with the grinding mechanics and the combo system, uh, my wife likened it to Tony Hawk. She's like, "This kind of feels like you're playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater," and the being able to do that in addition to the drifting, which has, existed for a couple decades now, really unlocks another level of, like, verticality and pathways through the courses, that didn't exist in Mario Kart 8. Now you could use items in Mario Kart 8 to kinda, like, boost through the grass or make an extra jump or something like that. You could do some cool things, but in Mario Kart World, it's like the courses are designed around using this like jumping and wall riding and grinding mechanic, uh, and there's just so many more possibilities that come out as a result that I like would rather play this, and not just because it's new, but just like when I play with my family or friends in Mario Kart 8, it's like I know exactly what pathway I'm taking through the courses. I know exactly where to drift because that's your mini turbo is kind of the only thing that you can really use as an extra advantage outside of the items. There's drafting and stuff, but, I kinda play it the same way every time is what I'm getting at. In Mario Kart World, I don't think I've ever played 2 races the same. Like, I always have I'm trying different strategies. I'm trying to see how I can get up to this, like, ledge up here, and if I wall ride and then I jump over to this rail and then back, and you do these crazy combos, and it's so much fun. I'm absolutely having a blast with it. I'm so excited to someday when my kids realize that we have a Switch 2, try to say that quiet because they're sleeping above me, that they can try that out with me and we can have fun together. We were playing Mario Kart on the weekend because that's all that they know that we have currently. But yeah, I'm so excited to be able to play this with other people. We got some friends over, played Knockout Tour, which is the new mode for Mario Kart World. So there's actually 2 new modes technically. There's free roam, which is exactly what it sounds like. Free roam around the map. There's a few challenges hidden here and there. We can come back to that. And then there's Knockout Tour, which is kind of their take on a battle royale style elimination mode where you're driving point to point across the map, hitting some of the main courses with some highway type stuff in between. And every so often there's a gate and it's like you got to clear 20th or 16th or 12th or whatever by the time you get to this gate, and if you don't, you're out. And man, it's pure chaos. It's so much fun playing that. Like we played it together with Ben, and I think as soon as we were done that first race, we were all like, "This is really cool. Like this is the mode that Mario Kart needed to like give us something new to chew on, and it's so chaotic and so stressful in the best way possible, and I can't wait to play more of it. I literally wanna go play more of it right now, just talking about it, and that is a sign of a good game when you talk about it or hear other people talk about it on, like, a podcast or whatever, and you wanna go play it. Yeah, I just wanna, like, go invite my friends over or neighbors over because we sometimes play games together and just go play some Knockout Tour. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a truly special mode where it's kind of like when you experience how fun the like Fortnite is with the battle royale, and when you just see the slow attrition and the number going down and you're near the end and the circle closes in on you. Yeah, it's so fun, and especially when you're at a point where you can compete, and it's a lot of fun. But it really was a blast. Like, we were Melissa and all her friends were up doing, like, a painting night when you and Ben were over, and we were down in the basement, and all the girls just thought it was hilarious because how vocal, maybe it was just myself, I'll speak for myself, but it sounded like all of us were having
No.
fun. And yeah, yeah, some of the ladies wanted to come down and play 'cause, they thought that would've it sounded like we were having a lot of fun, and which we were. So, yeah, I thought that was a really, that was fun. And I think one important thing to actually mention when we talk about this game is the open world has really opened up a massive number of tracks, which at first blush, it's like there's a good number of tracks. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's a lot of good maps, or sorry, good tracks on the map. But then what's interesting, because it's open world, they then have all the connecting points between the maps or between the tracks that you can drive to. So then you actually now have all these other tracks in between that you can go and do in like a versus mode, which is what we usually play with the kids. So then we can go and just play, oh, this one between these two things. And that's so there's actually tons of different races that you can do, which is facilitated because of the open world. So yes, it'd be great to one day have them. I don't know how they actually do it on the map now, where you're going to have all the uh, old map or all the old racetracks from the other games, just how they'll fit that in the map, which would kind of be interesting. I mean, they could just do that some other way without having it to be like a drive to it necessarily the same way. But there's actually a ton of variety, different biomes, um, yeah, all sorts of stuff. Like the water, super annoying. I do not like again, it's challenging. I find like the water stuff where you're having to try to get the jump in the waves. It's just yeah, and it's tough. So there's good challenge in some of the different maps. I also think that just makes me think of the music in the game, and the music is so much fun, and how they've remixed some of the old music from like there was the I forget the track that it's on, but it's the Ocarina of Time, like do 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 do
Lost
do
Boys.
do 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 do, and yeah, that's it, and and then you hear that with, like I think it's like a guitar riff or something, and it's just such good music. The music is so enjoyable to just be playing that game and, like, the audio, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, definitely
fantastic.
recommend, like, putting some headphones in if you have this game and just, like, listening to the music, and, I can't wait for that music to go onto the Nintendo Switch, music app, which we use a ton with the kids, like, that's all that my kids wanna listen to is
Oh,
Nintendo Switch music, and so we have, like, the
oh, cool.
Spotify style app that they made on the phone, and as long as you have Nintendo Switch Online, you can listen to the entire catalog of Nintendo music, and they just drip feed releases onto there. And I assume at some point we're gonna see Mario Kart World soundtrack show up. As of right now, I think people are just trying to document on YouTube all the different songs, but soon we'll see all those songs go onto their app. And yeah, they really went all in on that soundtrack. That soundtrack is something else, like, just kinda like the live recording style of it with all the different instruments that they brought in and different styles, like you said, Jordan, of different, previous Nintendo hits. So, yeah, it's really good. I definitely wanna play that game just even to listen to the music and drive around. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's, I'm very excited to see what happens with this game over the next 6 months to a year, and I think you're gonna get more music. I think you're gonna get more track like, you're obviously gonna get more tracks. Like, they released more tracks. This is one of their tentpole releases. It was oh, man, the millions of copies that they sold of this game, even or sorry, of, like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which was a re-release of what came out on the Wii U, and it was still, even up to, like, the last year, one of the top selling games month over month, uh, which is crazy because that game came out 10,
Yeah,
11 years ago?
2012, I wanna say. It was probably close to a Wii U launch title. Now, granted, I'm
There you
probably not a
go.
very good Nintendo nerd if I didn't follow the Wii U that closely, but, forgive me for that. But Mario Kart 8, I'm seeing 76.6 million sales, million units between Wii U and Switch. That is insane. That is so insane. That's like I saw a chart recently of the top selling Nintendo franchises of of all time, and Mario Kart is above basically most other anything like Zelda, almost like anything else Nintendo has ever put out. It's a big tentpole franchise, and yeah, to go back to that point, I think they released it first for the Switch. Like, that's the first exclusive game that's come out for the Switch too, so that they have this long life to be able to layer things on top of it. And Nintendo used to not really support their games with DLC. Like, that's a pretty recent thing that they started doing. They did a little bit in the Wii U, but they really only started to do it in the Switch era. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was really the first game that had like a bunch of updates to it, like tons of DLC added to it, where they doubled the tracks from 48 to 96 for that game. And so I think that bodes really well for the future of this game. And yeah, like we were talking about earlier, maybe the reason for that high price point, it's a little hard to say. It could just be a state of the industry thing right now too, right? And the cost to develop a AAA game like this one. Um, but yeah, it's easy to justify the purchase for me because I see myself going and dipping back into this over time, like repeatedly. I'm not sitting there, I got a 3-star all the cups, but yeah, it's fun to do that. And it's even more fun to play with other people. So
Yep.
yeah, we're going to be pulling this one out for a long time to come.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see our family playing this for as long as like for the foreseeable future because my youngest is able to play it. I turn on auto accelerate, auto use item, steer assist, every and so he's just sitting there just trying to go in a straight line and that's all he can do and that's cool. And he does. And he actually sometimes does decent. And then for Lily, she's a little bit less capable than Alice and Claire. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do auto item, but still have the steer assist and the she'll accelerate on her own. So she's doing that much. And then you go to Alice and it's like, nope, you're accelerating on your own. You use the items on your own. The only thing I have for you and for her and Claire are having the steer assist so they can't fall off. And so it's great because it scales to the kids and where they're at. And so we legitimately sit down and play. There's no other game that we have that our kids, all of them can go and realistically play. The only one that came close was Shredder's Revenge. And Haddon can't do that. He would just die constantly. Lily would kind of, if I'm there helping her along, we'd be able to. I'd be carrying it. Alice and I legitimately could play together. Claire as well. So it's just like it's fun because we're actually playing. We're doing it as a family, and it's a ton of fun. And our kids adore it. All they want to do is play this game, and I can't blame
It's
them.
one thing
I
that
get it.
Nintendo does so well and does better than any other company is they bring people together to play games. And like we live in such like a disconnected world
Yep.
where, if I want to go play a game on any other system, we probably can't play it in the same room together. Like we probably have to play it online. But with Nintendo games, there's such a joy to them. Like anyone can play them. It's enjoyable at every age level. Like doesn't really matter how old you are, and it encourages you to actually play together. Uh, and they have those accessibility options like you mentioned for the smart things where you don't feel like you're way out of it because you have it in a correct for you. It's such a win all around. It's awesome. Um,
Yep. Well, and one of the things that Nate often uses this expression when he's preaching is like incarnational ministry, where it's like being together, physically being together, serving together, doing life together, having people in each other's homes. And so that's why when at the outset I mentioned that I think this is the best video game device for families and for actual like friendship community because there's just nowhere else are you going to find something that physically brings people together as well as this does, right? It's something that every single time you get together with people and play um, in person, you are going to have a riot. It's just like when me, and Ben were playing, and I'm getting quite animated, and everybody's getting all riled up, and you stand up because everybody's so intense with it, and it's something that you can't mimic that almost on any
yeah,
other console. It's just not the same as
yeah, and when I
this.
look back on like my fondest gaming memories, like and what I kind of cherish the most from that, it's the times like that where I could spend it with other people, kinda yelling and jumping around all happy because of something that we did together or against each other in a game. Like, it was those moments where we were brought together. Like, um, grew up playing Halo 3 at LAN parties with 16 other people all connected into a network switch across a pool table from each other at our church, and we just, like, play custom Halo games, and we would have do that for 8 hours straight, where it's like, we're all in the same room, thankfully, and we can just, like, get some pizza and pop and just have a blast and try out different game modes and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of thing just kind of is gone by the wayside with all these other systems. And there's lots of fun things with the other systems. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure we'll review other games coming up for the ones off the top of my cough. But the Switch is just and Nintendo games in general are so good at bringing people together, and I'm just so glad that there is a company out there that does that with quality in a family friendly way. Yeah, I really can't say enough good things about that. Um, Before we give it a score, though, Jordan, I do want to say like it's we've obviously been really positive about the game. There's probably a couple negatives to say as well to get in here. Mostly positive things to say, but there's probably a couple things like, I alluded to towards the start of the episode. $110 is a lot for this game, like it just is, and that's before tax and everything too. So, um, this game probably doesn't have enough content to justify the price is one issue. So there's an open world component to the game where you can drive around this open world and you can do challenges like these P-switch challenges where you hit a Mario style P-switch and a bunch of hoops show up and you can try to trick the hoops, and it is kind of a fun way to learn how to play the game, and they are cool little challenges. Um, but there's not really a lot of incentive for doing them other than learning how to play the game. And the game doesn't really tell you like unlocks, how to unlock anything or give you any sense of direction. So, you have those games like the Ubisoft style, like Assassin's Creed or whatever. You've got a whole bunch of question marks on the map, and you can go and complete those. And you know how much progress you're making in the game. In Mario Kart World, you really don't. It doesn't give you a lot of indication of what to do. And the open world area, it's really fun to drive around it, but it's not like something I wanna do for long periods of time. It's really more like warm up before a race or, like, before we get online together or in the same room together. I might go, like, for 20 minutes, like, try out a few combos and drive around the world, but it's not something where it's like I gotta sit in this world for hours and just, like, try out the challenges. Like, uh I hope they add more to it. I think they will, but from a single player standpoint, it doesn't feel as fleshed out as it could be, the open world. So that's my one other downside, I guess. One small downside is as well, now that I'm just thinking about this, is the online. Well, the online is great, and we played the other night online to test it out. I almost forgot about that, and it was flawless. There was one issue we experienced. We tried to get in a lobby with other people, like like real people, and we couldn't do it. So, yeah. Now, I
Humans,
was
yep,
able to do it
yep.
with a friend who came over. We played Knockout Tour, two-player, local, online with other real people. So that was great. That was a lot of fun and crazy hard. Like I said, skill ceiling in this game is high. Um, but there was no lobby for us to jump into as like together, and that is like feels weird. Like that's something that's been around for AIDS now for any other
Yeah.
system. So the fact Nintendo either hasn't figured this out or has made the decision not to because of, I don't know if they're scared about like, you know, they're being a little protective or something. Like that might be it, but it's a little bit of a baffling
Yeah.
decision.
Yep. Yeah, did we look into that, whether that was us just being dum-dums and not figuring it out, or
Oh,
were
yeah,
did we sort out if
you actually
you
can't.
actually can't? I
It's
can't remember.
unfortunate.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that definitely was a bummer. Yeah, and I think I heard somebody say recently you rate something based on what it is, not what it could be or will be, and so, like, the open world, it really is disappointing. Like, I honestly, I didn't even know how to get to it. I didn't even realize that you have to look down in the bottom right corner where it says hit the plus button to go into free roam. So it wasn't even something I thought about until I heard somebody else mention it. It's like, oh right, this has that. And I did it, and I did it
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. I was like, nope, I'm going back. And I just went and did I'm working my way through the Grand Prix right now. So that's all I'm really thinking about. But yeah, so I think that's true. So if you had to on the Reforming Nerdom review scale, 1 to 10, half points are allowed, what would you give
Well, like you
Mario
said,
Kart
we're
World.
we're rating this based on what it is, not what it could be. I mean, this game could be a 10. It really could be a 10. The potential is there, and
Yeah.
that has me excited, but it's not a 10.
Yep.
I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10. It is solid. It is great. The Grand Prix and the new Knockout Tour mode are so good. And after playing a few of the Grand Prix courses a few times over, there's some great courses in this game. Like Rainbow Road is probably the best Mario Kart course of all time, in my opinion. And I mean, I played basically all of them. It's probably the best one. It's a lengthy Rainbow Road too. So if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, Jordan, highly recommend doing that one. Um, yeah.
How do you actually unlock? Because you have to unlock that, right? How do you? I don't think
It's
I have
actually easy to
unlocked it.
unlock. All you have to do is just play all of the Grand Prix. So you'll get a check mark if you haven't,
Oh, I
if you
haven't
don't get
even.
stars or win or whatever, you'll just get a check mark. Otherwise, you'll get the stars or the trophy or something to say you indicated that you won.
Okay. Because I have not even started the last of the Grand Prix that are there, so that's probably
Should
why.
totally do that.
I've beaten all the other ones. I just had. Okay. I'll do that tonight. Yeah, I've gold starred or whatever they call that. Gold
Something like
mushroom,
that.
gold starred. Anyways, I've gotten the gold in all of them except that one, and I haven't even started it yet because I wanted to try to get through all the other ones. So I have. So I'll do that tonight. That's good to know. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, so for me, I would also give it an 8. It is great. It has flaws, but it is still exceptionally fun to play. You're just not going to find a better kart racing game ever anywhere. It is the gold standard. It is the best. The mechanics feel fantastic. I mean, they've been polishing this for, like you said, decades, and this game feels incredible. And again, even just with the hardware, because of the really advanced haptics in the console and the Pro controller, it feels amazing. The drifting feels great. Everything about the game just feels amazing to play. And so now it's just the question for the future is, can they provide enough reasons for me to come back? As of right now, that'll be my kids. Whether I do that myself remains to be seen. For right now, I'm still having a lot of fun. I still really want to keep playing it. But for that, I give it an 8. I think it is great,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm
Yeah, it
I'm
looks like
I'm
we're
happy with
aligned
that
on
score.
that one. Yeah, and like this is probably the game that we just kind of keep coming back to over the generation, and then hopefully we see some games really soon that are excellent quality, just like this one, or great quality, and are more like single player dive deep into the game style of game, like hopefully Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out next month hits the way that we expect it to. And after that, looking ahead, the one other Switch 2 exclusive that I know for sure is coming out is Metroid Prime 4, which is a long-awaited entry in that
Yeah.
series. And I think that's definitely like if there's one other game that I for sure want to buy this year, it's Metroid Prime 4 because the remaster that they came out with a couple years ago, the first one, was like 10 out of 10. It was so, so good. So maybe I'll have to lend that one to you, Jordan. You can play through that one.
Yeah, yeah, there's a few Nintendo games that I'm wanting to have a go at, but right now, Breath of the Wild is the one. Once I've exhausted my fun out of Mario Kart, I'm gonna really sink my teeth into Breath of the Wild. I've heard too many people say it's probably or possibly the best game ever made. And just as somebody who is just a passionate video game fan, it's like I owe it to the medium itself to play that game and to actually give it some time. And so far, even just in the little bit I played, it's like, man, it's not going to draw me away because it's not running well. So now it's just a matter of can I get into the world and the mechanics and everything. So I'm excited for that. But at least with that game right now, if you went to go buy it, it's $100. But that's $100 for 50 to 100 hours of gameplay. That, like, you're the thing that I often talk about on this show is, like, hour or cost per hour of entertainment and just trying to figure out, like, what makes sense, and that's why, reading a Brandon Sanderson book to me makes sense. It's a $30 book, but it's gonna take me 40 hours to read it. That's a lot of entertainment value I'm getting from that money, and so something like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is probably gonna be a 10 to 15-hour game, I feel like that's a little bit less able to justify that. Like, I get we don't know for sure what it's going to be, but like those types of games, you're maybe 20 hours and then you're kind of done. So we'll see whether that becomes worth it. But
With having a
yeah,
family though, I've
so
found I've kind of adjusted that mentality a little bit because I know my kids are gonna get hours of enjoyment out of it, and my wife is potentially too as well because she likes gaming too a little bit.
yeah,
So,
that's true.
like for a good example of this was Astrobot,
Yeah.
not a Switch game, but I think we spent $60 on Astrobot roughly, and between me, my kids, my wife, and even you, because we game share, my like, of my family, we have been, I think, around the 90-hour mark in recorded playtime or 100-hour mark, for
Wow.
a 15-hour
Yeah.
game. Now, a game that they did add quite a bit of content
Yeah.
over time, but we didn't know that buying it initially. And so, I do value games a little bit differently now than I used to when it was just me playing them. I used to think like maybe $1 an hour or something like that, but now, if the kids are gonna play it, it's easier to justify it personally anyways.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I that will be quite the day when Melissa comes to me and says, "Hey, is it okay if I grab the Switch because I want to play a game?" That is a work in progress, but one day maybe I'll get her to do that. Even getting her to be up for sitting in
My
bed.
wife's first game was Breath of the Wild,
What's up?
basically. So, that's a game we played it together,
Ah,
and it
there
was
you go.
like we were pretty newly married at the time, and that like kind of was like a good bonding moment. Like she thought it was nerdy nonsense at first, and then she saw me playing, and I was like, "Ah, can I play that?" And then
Yeah.
like, yeah, go for it. So we would be like, all right, you do an hour, and then I'll do a little bit, and then we go back and forth. And oh, see that thing over there? Go try that out. And it's her favorite game of
Yeah.
all time now, and she's not like a major gamer, but she likes it, so maybe she can Mel, to try Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll have to try out tonight. I'll see. And but well, Nate, is there anything else that you want to say about the console games, anything
No, not much. I
before we
think we
wrap up?
covered most of it. I'm really excited to see where this generation goes. I mean, maybe we should do a check-in in a couple of years or a year from now to see, how we are still feeling about the console, but right now, like, looking at what's coming up ahead, I'm really hopeful to see, where this generation goes, and I hope it's a continuation of the success that the Switch 1 saw, and, I'm looking forward to, just getting together and, like, playing more games together, like you and I even, or other guys, or girls from the podcast and the Discord, and we can hopefully, arrange some
Yep.
gaming, get-togethers there.
Yeah. Well, we're Nate, Ben, Nate, and I are chatting right now about putting together or doing a Mario Kart tournament at the church, and anybody who's local. I mean, if somebody wants to bring their friends, they can as well. We're gonna have it be like a sponsored by Reforming Nerdom and order some pizza, maybe have some prizes, stuff like that. Just because one of the most fun things I ever did was for a buddy of mine, his bachelor party. We set up two different TVs, had two 64s set up, and had a Mario Kart tournament. We had the whole round robin thing with a leaderboard. It was one of the most fun things I've ever done, and so now that we have the new consoles, things control better, it's put that on the big screens in the church lobby or in the church, fellowship hall.
Yep.
It will be so much fun. So we're planning that out, and hopefully sometime this summer we're
Sounds
gonna
like a
do that
blast.
because 'cause that'll be a lot of fun, but yeah, no, I'm excited as well. I mean, as of right now, I'm at the point where I'm excited enough about this thing where I can't wait to play it every day. I don't get to play it as much as I would like just because of obviously other responsibilities, but any chance I can, I love just sitting down, even if it's playing a race or two. That's all I need, and that's cool. So I'm excited to see where things go. So well, Nate, thank you for joining me. Thanks. You're the only person I know who has one, so it's nice to have somebody else who is excited about this and who is knowledgeable enough about video games, the industry, to be able to talk about it. So, thank you for joining, and listeners will definitely have Nate back in the future to talk more video game stuff. And just to remind you that you can also hang out and chat with Nate over on our Discord. If you have questions for him, for me, Also, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can find out when we drop new episodes. And also, you can check out our podcast on podcast services around the world. And most importantly, just that Discord. Go over to our Patreon, sign up there, and you can get access to our Discord where you can join a whole bunch of nerds from all around North America, where we get together and talk about all sorts of fun and nerdy things. It's a great community that we built there, growing, and we look forward to having you there. But until then, stay nerdy.